everyone, Sarah here. Rewind Justice brings you revenge stories that will blow your mind. If you're ready, hit subscribe and let's go.
The Christmas lights reflected off Mom's wine glass as she surveyed her perfectly decorated dining room. 23 family members gathered around the extended table, and Mom held court at the head like she always did. My sister Lauren sat to her right, my brother Marcus to her left. I was at the far end near the kitchen door. Another successful year for Anderson Imports, Mom announced, raising her glass. Revenue up 32%. We just secured the Riverside Plaza contract. Everyone applauded. Dad beamed with pride. Patricia really built something special, Aunt Carol said. A real empire. Mom's eyes found mine across the table. Some people build businesses. Others just pretend. Lauren snickered. Marcus avoided my gaze. What do you even do, Emma? My cousin Jennifer asked. I can never keep track. Consulting, I said simply. Consulting. Mom's voice dripped with disdain. Such a vague word. What does that even mean? I help businesses optimize their financial structures. Oh, please. Mom set down her glass hard enough that it clinked against her plate. Stop pretending you're successful. I built a real business. I have warehouses, employees, contracts. You shuffle papers and call it consulting. Dad smirked. Your mother started with nothing and built Anderson Imports from the ground up. That's real success. Absolutely right, I said, cutting my ham. You should be very proud. Mom wasn't done. You know what bothers me most? The way you act. Like you're on my level. Like we're peers. She laughed and several relatives joined in. Honey, we're not even in the same universe. I never said we were. You don't have to say it. It's in how you carry yourself. That expensive coat you wore in. Where did you even get that? Rent it. Lauren giggled into her napkin. The confidence, Mom continued. Like you've accomplished something. But what have you accomplished, Emma? Really? I took a sip of water. You're right, Mom. You've built something impressive. Don't patronize me. Her voice sharpened. I know what you do. I know exactly what you do. You work from that tiny apartment, no office, no employees, calling yourself a consultant. It's embarrassing. Patricia, Aunt Carol said gently. No, she needs to hear this. Mom leaned forward. I'm tired of the pretending. I'm tired of her showing up to family events acting like she's some big success story. Emma, you're 34 years old. When are you going to build something real? The table had gone silent. Even the kids stopped fidgeting. I have built something, I said quietly. Mom laughed. What? What have you built? Name one thing. I could have told her then. About the portfolio. About the 7 businesses I'd quietly backed over the past 9 years. About the private equity fund I'd started with my mentor's seed money and turned into something that managed over $200 million. I could have told her that her impressive business, the one she was so proud of, only existed because of a revolving credit line that I'd structured, negotiated, and personally guaranteed. But I didn't. You're absolutely right, Mom, I said. You've accomplished things I haven't. She sat back satisfied. Finally. Some honesty. The conversation moved on. Lauren talked about her promotion. Marcus discussed his new house. I finished my ham in silence. It started 12 years ago when I was 22 and finishing my finance degree. Mom had just started Anderson Imports, a small operation importing home goods from overseas manufacturers. She was passionate but undercapitalized and didn't understand financial management. Banks won't give me the credit I need, she complained at Sunday dinner. They want collateral I don't have. They want 3 years of history. It's impossible. What about angel investors? I'd asked. Those vultures? They'd want 40% of my company for pennies. Mom shook her head. No, I'll figure it out. I always do. She didn't figure it out. Over the next 18 months, Anderson Imports hemorrhaged cash. Vendors demanded payment up front. Orders came in, but she couldn't fulfill them without inventory capital. The business was dying. I watched her stress. Watched her age 5 years in 12 months. Watched Dad try to hide his worry. And I couldn't stand it. I'd just started working for Margaret Chin, a private equity investor who'd taken me under her wing. Margaret had built her fortune backing undervalued businesses with smart financial structures. She taught me everything: How to read balance sheets like novels, how to structure deals that protected both parties, how to spot potential in struggling companies. Your mother's business has legs, Margaret said when I showed her Anderson Imports numbers. The model is sound. She just needs working capital and someone to structure her credit properly. She'll never accept help from me. Then don't tell her it's from you. Margaret and I structured it carefully. We created an LLC, Riverside Capital Management. Margaret provided the initial backing. I negotiated with 3 banks to create a revolving credit line, $6 million that Anderson Imports could draw against for inventory and operations. The terms were generous but not suspicious. The interest rate was competitive. Most importantly, it was structured to look like Mom had qualified for it herself, a testament to her business's potential. I brought the offer to her through a business contact. Someone I know in finance heard about your company, I told her at coffee. They think you have potential. Want me to pass along some information? 2 weeks later, Anderson Imports had its credit line. Mom never asked questions. She assumed she'd finally impressed the right banker. She told everyone about her breakthrough, how her excellent business model had finally gotten the recognition it deserved. I never corrected her. Over the next 5 years, I watched her business grow. The credit line expanded to $6.7 million as her needs grew. She hired 30 employees, opened 2 warehouses, started landing major contracts. I did this, she'd say proudly. Nobody helped me. I built this myself. And she had mostly. She'd built the relationships, secured the clients, managed the operations. The credit line just gave her the runway she needed to execute her vision. But every time she took credit for doing it alone, every time she dismissed my career as pretend success, every time she compared her real business to my paper shuffling, it stung a little more. Meanwhile, my own career had exploded. Margaret made me a partner at 26. By 30, I was managing my own portfolio of businesses. The consulting work I did wasn't paper shuffling. It was restructuring distressed companies, negotiating complex financial instruments, building equity positions in businesses most people didn't see the potential in. I'd helped 15 companies avoid bankruptcy. I'd structured 9 successful exits. My personal net worth had crossed 8 figures 2 years ago. But Mom never asked about it. In her mind, if you didn't have a storefront or a warehouse, you weren't really successful. After that Christmas dinner, I drove back to my tiny apartment, a 2,400 square foot penthouse in the Riverside district that I'd bought for cash 3 years ago. I poured myself a whiskey and looked out over the city lights. My phone buzzed. Margaret. How was Christmas? The usual. Mom thinks I'm a failure. Still haven't told her? What's the point? The point is you're carrying a woman who insults you. That's not strategy, Emma. That's masochism. Margaret was right, of course. She usually was. The truth was, I hadn't told Mom about Anderson Imports' credit line because I'd wanted to see if she'd ever show curiosity. If she'd ever ask about my work, my life, my success. If she'd ever treat me like someone whose opinion mattered. 12 years later, she still hadn't. You need to make a decision, Margaret had told me 6 months ago. Either you tell her or you walk away. But this half measure is eating you alive. I'd been thinking about it ever since. New Year's Eve. Mom hosted a party at her house. 50 people celebrating her best year yet. I wasn't planning to go, but Lauren called. You have to come, she said. Mom's announcing something big. What? I don't know, but she's been smug all week. Just come. I arrived at 8. The house was packed. Mom had hired caterers, set up a champagne fountain, hung a banner that read, Anderson Imports, a decade of excellence. Emma. Dad spotted me. Glad you made it. Your mother has exciting news. At midnight, Mom gathered everyone in the living room. Thank you all for being here, she began. This year was transformative for Anderson Imports. We grew 32%. We secured major contracts. We proved that hard work and determination pay off. Applause. But I'm not done growing. I've been in talks with a company that wants to acquire Anderson Imports. The offer is... She paused for effect. $23 million. Gasps. More applause. Lauren screamed and hugged her. I'm meeting with their team next week, Mom continued. If all goes well, we'll close by February. Your mother is about to become very, very comfortable. Everyone rushed to congratulate her. I hung back. Marcus found me in the kitchen. Can you believe it? 23 million. Who's acquiring it? Some big distributor. Coastal something. Mom says they've been pursuing her for months. Coastal Distribution. I knew them. They were in my portfolio. Not directly but through a partnership with another company I'd backed. Emma. Mom appeared in the doorway. I didn't think you'd come. Congratulations. Thank you. He studied me. You know what this means. I'll finally have real wealth. Not pretend success. Not consultant money. Real, substantial wealth. I'm happy for you, Mom. Are you? She stepped closer. Or are you jealous? Is this hard for you? Watching your mother succeed while you're still, whatever it is you do. Something in me snapped. Actually, Mom, I need to tell you something about that credit line. Patricia. Someone called from the living room. Channel 7 wants a comment. Mom's eyes lit up. They're here? Oh my God. She rushed out without another glance. I left quietly through the back door. January 2nd. I sat in my office reviewing the Anderson Imports file. The credit line was structured through Riverside Capital Management, which was structured through another LLC which ultimately traced back to me. Mom had no idea. Her CFO, Gerald Morrison, had worked with Riverside 4 years without knowing who controlled it. I pulled up the credit agreement. Section 7.3. Credit provider reserves the right to freeze or recall credit line with 30 days notice for any reason deemed appropriate by provider. My phone rang. Margaret. I heard about the acquisition offer. News travels fast. Coastal Distribution is solid. The 23 million is fair, maybe even generous. She paused. Emma, if she sells, you need to tell her before the deal closes. Coastal will do due diligence. They'll find the credit line. They'll trace it back. She's going to find out anyway. I know. So what are you going to do? I looked at the file. 12 years. $6.7 million in available credit. Hundreds of thousands in interest I'd collected and reinvested back into her business in the form of favorable restructuring. I'm going to let her make her choice, I said finally. What does that mean? It means I'm going to see if she asks. One more time. If she's about to sell for 23 million, maybe she'll finally be curious about where her success came from. Mom posted on social media about the acquisition. Built from nothing. Hard work pays off. Hashtag self-made, hashtag women in business. 200 likes. 50 comments. Everyone congratulating her on doing it, all by herself. No call. No text. No, Emma, I wanted to thank you for believing in me. Because she still didn't know. At 2 p.m. I made the call. First National Bank, this is Richard. Richard, this is Emma Chin from Riverside Capital Management. I need to execute Section 7.3 on the Anderson Imports Credit Facility. Freeze the line. Effective immediately. Send the notification to Gerald Morrison, CFO. Full freeze pending review. May I ask the reason? Personal guarantor decision. Everything's in order with the agreement. Understood. I'll process it now. They'll be notified within the hour. I hung up. My hand was shaking. The call came at 4:17 p.m. Emma. Mom's voice was panicked. I need you to find out what's happening. Someone froze our credit line. All 6.7 million just gone. Gerald's freaking out. He can't reach anyone at the bank. What happened? I don't know. They just sent notice. Credit line frozen pending review. We have 3 shipments arriving next week. We need that credit to pay the vendors. If we can't pay, her voice cracked. The acquisition falls apart. Coastal needs to see stable credit. This could kill the entire deal. Did Gerald say anything else? Just that some company called Riverside Capital Management initiated it. Emma, you work in finance. Can you call someone? Pull some strings. I'm begging you. Riverside Capital Management? Yes. Do you know them? This was it. The moment I could tell her. The moment I could explain everything. Instead I said, let me make some calls. I'll see what I can find out. Thank you. God, thank you. I knew you'd help. Because I was useful now. Now that she needed something. I waited until 7 p.m. Then I called her back. Mom, I found out some information about Riverside Capital. What? What did you learn? Can you get Dad, Lauren, and Marcus on the line? I think you all need to hear this. Why? Emma, what's going on? Just trust me. Conference call. 10 minutes. At 7:10, I had all 4 of them on the line. Hey Emma, Mom said. We're all here. What did you find out? I spoke to Riverside Capital Management. And, will they unfreeze it? What do they want? Mom, do you remember 12 years ago when you got that first credit line? $6 million. Of course. The bank finally recognized Anderson Imports' potential. That's not actually what happened. Silence. What do you mean? Dad asked. The credit line didn't come from the bank's assessment of your business. It came from a private guarantor who structured the deal specifically for Anderson Imports. I don't understand, Mom said slowly. Someone believed in your business when banks wouldn't. Someone structured a revolving credit line, personally guaranteed it, took on all the risk. That person created Riverside Capital Management as the vehicle to back you. Who? Lauren asked. Over 12 years, that credit line expanded to $6.7 million. You've drawn against it hundreds of times. It's been the backbone of your growth. Every major expansion, every warehouse, every big order, funded by that line. Emma. Mom's voice was tight. Who is the guarantor? You said at Christmas that I haven't built anything real. That I just shuffle papers and pretend to be successful. What does that have to? She stopped. No. Riverside Capital Management is my company, Mom. I'm the guarantor. I have been for 12 years. The line went dead silent. Then, you're lying. I'm not. That's impossible. I qualified for that credit line because of my business model. You qualified because I spent 6 months structuring a deal that would work for you. Because I convinced my mentor to back me. Because I personally guaranteed $6.7 million in credit. No. Mom's voice shook. No, that's not. The bank would have told me. The bank works with Riverside Capital. They don't disclose the guarantor unless required. I made sure the terms looked like standard business credit. I wanted you to feel like you'd earned it yourself. Why? Dad's voice was hoarse. Why would you do that? Because 12 years ago Mom's business was dying. She needed capital. I had just started working in private equity. I wanted to help. But you never said anything, Marcus said. I wanted to see if she'd ask. If she'd ever be curious about my work. If she'd ever treat me like someone who might know something about business. I paused. She never did. This is insane, Lauren said. You're saying you've been secretly funding Mom's business for 12 years? Not funding. Guaranteeing credit. There's a difference. Mom still had to execute. Still had to build the relationships, land the contracts, manage operations. I just gave her the financial runway to do it. So everything I built, Mom's voice cracked. You're saying I didn't really. You built it, I said firmly. You made every business decision. You earned every client. You created the value that attracted coastal distribution. I just made sure you had access to capital. Then why freeze the credit line now? Dad demanded. Right before the acquisition? Because 2 days ago Mom stood in front of 50 people and talked about being self-made. Posted on social media about building her business, from nothing with nobody's help. And I realized she'll never know. Even at her moment of greatest success, she'll never acknowledge that maybe, possibly, I played a role. You want acknowledgement? Mom's voice turned sharp. You want me to thank you for, what? Doing what any bank would do. No bank would do what I did, Mom. No bank would give an undercapitalized startup a $6 million revolving credit line. No bank would expand it to $6.7 million based on potential rather than collateral. So you've been holding this over me. Waiting for the perfect moment to, what? Destroy me. I'm not destroying anything. I'm exercising my right under the credit agreement. Section 7.3. You can read it. Gerald has the full contract. The acquisition, Mom's voice broke. Emma, this will kill the acquisition. Coastal needs to see stable credit. If they think we're a risk, then maybe you should have been curious about where that credit came from. Maybe you should have asked questions instead of assuming you'd impressed the right banker. This is blackmail, Lauren said. You're holding her business hostage. I'm exercising my contractual rights. That's not blackmail. That's business. Business. Mom screamed. I'm your mother. And I'm your daughter. The one you've dismissed for 12 years. The one you called a pretender at Christmas in front of the entire family. The one whose success you've never once acknowledged because it doesn't look like yours. The line went quiet except for Mom's ragged breathing. What do you want? Dad finally asked. What will it take to unfreeze the credit? I'd thought about this for 3 days. An acknowledgement. Public. On the same social media where you celebrated being self-made. You tell the truth about where your credit line came from. You tell the truth about who guaranteed your success. You want me to humiliate myself? Mom whispered. I want you to tell the truth. Is that humiliating? It will make me look like a fraud. Like I didn't really build this. Or it will make you look like someone whose daughter believed in her when no one else did. Someone who built a $23 million company even when banks said no. Someone whose success was real but not entirely solo. Silence. And if I don't? Mom asked. Then the credit stays frozen. Coastal will see an unstable credit situation during due diligence. They'll either lower their offer significantly or walk away entirely. You'd really do that? Tank my deal. You'd really rather lose $23 million than admit I helped you? More silence. Finally, Dad spoke. Patricia, just post the acknowledgement. Let's end this. Stay out of this, Robert. Your daughter guaranteed $6.7 million. For 12 years. And you've treated her like a failure. I didn't know. Because you never asked. When have you ever asked Emma about her work? When have you ever taken her seriously? I could hear Mom crying now. I'll unfreeze half the credit line immediately, I said quietly. Show good faith. But the full restoration happens when I see the post. And Mom, it needs to be real. Not some technical acknowledgement buried in fine print. Real gratitude. I hate you right now, Mom whispered. I know. What do I say? Tell the truth. Tell them about the credit line. Tell them who provided it. Tell them that your success was built on talent and execution, but also on family support you didn't know you had. The call ended. January 4th, 11 a.m. Mom's post appeared. I need to make a correction to my recent posts about building Anderson Imports. While I'm proud of the work I've done, I've learned something that changes the story I've been telling. 12 years ago, when banks wouldn't give me capital, someone did. My daughter Emma structured and personally guaranteed a revolving credit line that became the financial foundation of everything I built. She did this through her private equity company, and she never told me. Not once in 12 years. I spent that time dismissing her career, calling her work pretend success, comparing my real business to her consulting. At Christmas, I humiliated her in front of our family. The truth is, Emma built something remarkable that I was too proud to see. She's a private equity investor who's backed dozens of companies, including mine. She's built genuine wealth and success. And she believed in me before anyone else did. I'm sorry, Emma. For 12 years of dismissal. For never asking about your work. For assuming my version of success was the only valid one. Thank you for giving me the chance to build this company. Thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in you. Anderson Imports' success belongs to both of us. 300 comments. 50 shares. Most praised Mom's honesty. Some said I'd been manipulative. A few said we both had valid points. I didn't care about the comments. At 2 p.m. I called Richard at First National. Restore the full credit line for Anderson Imports. Send confirmation to Gerald Morrison. Effective immediately? Yes. January 15th. Mom called. The acquisition closed. $23 million. Coastal never found out about the credit freeze. Gerald told them it was a routine compliance review. Congratulations. I want to give you something. From the sale. Half seems. I don't want your money, Mom. Then what do you want? I wanted you to see me. Really see me. To understand that success looks different for different people. That dismissing someone because they don't have a warehouse or a storefront doesn't mean they haven't built something real. She was quiet for a long moment. Can we have coffee? Just us. Maybe. Eventually. Emma. I need time, Mom. 12 years of dismissal doesn't disappear with one post. I understand. 6 months later, Mom and I met for coffee. She looked older. Tired. I sold the company, she said. Took the money. I thought it would feel like winning. Does it? It feels hollow. Like I climbed a mountain and realized the person I wanted to share the view with wasn't there anymore. I'm here, Mom. Are you? Because you're sitting across from me, but you feel 1,000 miles away. He was right. Some distances don't close easily. The post you wrote, I said. Did you mean it? Every word. Tears filled her eyes. I was so focused on my version of success that I couldn't see yours. I mistook strategy for failure. I mistook quiet confidence for weakness. You hurt me, Mom. Deeply. For years. I know. And I can't take that back. But I can do better going forward. If you'll let me. I thought about it. About the 12 years of dismissal. About the credit line. About Christmas dinner. About the fact that she'd chosen $23 million over her pride. That she'd posted the truth even though it cost her the self-made narrative she'd built her identity around. Tell me about your work, Mom said. Really tell me. I want to understand what you do. Who you are. So I did. I told her about Margaret. About the portfolio. About the 15 companies I'd saved from bankruptcy. About the structure I'd built, the deals I'd negotiated, the success I'd earned. She listened. Really listened. For the first time in 12 years. I'm proud of you, she said finally. I should have said that years ago. But I'm saying it now. I'm proud of who you've become and what you've built. It didn't fix everything. But it was a start. They say success is the best revenge. But I learned something different. Success is meaningless if the people you love can't see it. Not because you need their validation, but because shared joy is real joy and isolated victory is just loneliness wearing a crown. Mom and I rebuilt our relationship slowly. Coffee became dinners. Dinners became calls. Calls became trust. She never took the half of the acquisition money. Instead, she invested $2 million in my next fund. Not because I needed it, but because she wanted to be part of what I was building. Consider it 12 years of investment returns, she joked. I accepted it. Not for the money, but because it meant she finally understood. We'd both built something real. Just in different ways.